Hello everyone, good evening. This is Tandrina Neok. Currently I am pursuing BA LLB Honours from Dibrugarh University and I am your host for today's live session. Today's webinar is being conducted by Padmanath Gohai Borua Satra Nivas, in short PNGBN, a very reputed boys hostel of Dibrugarh University. I welcome each and every participant to our live session on behalf of Padmanath Gohai Borua Satra Nivas. Today's topic is a very trending topic, that is the National New Education Policy 2020. Today we have our respected Advocate Ruchi Kohli Madam with us. She is an additional Advocate General from the state of Haryana. Madam has been an advocate on record since 2007. She is one of the founding partners at her law firm Alliance Law Group at New Delhi. She is also on the senior panel of lawyers representing the Union of India and the state of Uttar Pradesh before the Supreme Court of India. We are very happy and overwhelmed to host our respected Ruchi Kohli Madam for our live session. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome to our session. How are you
Thank
doing,
Thank you so much, Sandrina. I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm well, ma'am. I'm fine.
So you guys have picked up a very trending topic.
Yes, ma'am. It's a very trending topic which is going like in India now.
So you want me to start?
Yes, ma'am. You can start, please, ma'am.
Okay, so I guess today's topic that we could discuss is the National Education Policy 2020. Now, it relates to the education. Education is power and education liberates. This is my personal thought process. I read somewhere once that purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. And the present policy seems to be just aiming at that. Now, so far as the education policy is concerned, the first education policy was introduced by Srimati Indira Gandhi in 1968, which was followed by another policy by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi in 1986. That policy was amended by Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1992. This is the third education policy that has come around after 1992. The present education policy basically lays emphasis on the development of the creative potential of every child. The most fundamental principle or the most fundamental fact on which the focus has been is the idea not to put pressure on a child and to be able to develop and hone his skills to the maximum possible level. And when I say develop his skills, I don't mean just educational skills. The present policy is talking about not just educational skills, but not academic, but non-academic as well. So what is it that the present policy is basing itself on? I'll just put that into a few points. One of the most important principle on which it is basing it is to recognize, identify and foster the uniqueness of every child. You see, every child, every student is unique in his own special way. So while some children might be very intelligent when it comes to academics, there are some children who might be extremely well and do exceedingly well in sports, music, craft. You know, there are multiple things which up until now are called extracurricular, but now with the current policy will be brought under the regime of being a subject. I'll deal with that later. So number one is to identify and recognize the uniqueness of every child and to develop that uniqueness into his strength. Number one. Number two will be how do we do that? So because today because the policy that is currently prevalent, teachers and parents are, because that is what we've been through. So there is a certain set pattern which is there in our heads. We are following that pattern for millions and millions of years to come now, you know. It is what the government is now seeking to do is a huge change. And mind you, it's a very positive change. This change will take time. It's a positive change, but what is most important is that the teachers and the parents need to be sensitized. They need to be sensitized to promote a holistic development, holistic growth for the child.
Yes, ma'am.
So the focus should not just be ki the child needs to study, the child needs to only get marks, the child only needs to, excel in maths, English, social studies, sciences, aim to go to IIT, aim to go to these bigger institutes. That is not the intent here. The intent here is to give equal respect and equal, encouragement to other non-academic spheres also, which will now be at par with the subjects that we study in school. Okay, that is number two. So for the parents and teachers to understand that it is not just academics that we need to concentrate on, but a child can excel in something else which has to be encouraged, without making the child feel that this is not, ये पढ़ाई नहीं है, I mean, when a very small example I'll give, at least I have faced it, so when I was younger, I used to really enjoy singing. So I remember my parents telling me, तुम पढ़ाई खत्म कर लो, उसके बाद तुम जो मर्जी कर लेना, right? This is a very standard approach that parents have, and for that matter even teachers have that. So this is something which this policy seeks to eradicate in a way, right? The other thing is that this policy is bringing about is flexibility to give to the students to choose and opt for subjects which they enjoy. It is not the subjects need to be based on their interest and talent, and not on necessary bifurcations कि हमने डॉक्टर बनना है, हमने साइंस लेना है तो हमने बायो, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथ्स और इंग्लिश ही पढ़ना है. So today the approach of the government through this policy is that if you want to be a doctor, you can still have all these subjects and study history if you want to. Right? The beauty of this policy is it has merged the concepts of science, commerce and arts. Going forward, I will explain how this functions. The thing basically what the government is trying to do is to dilute the differentiation between academic, non-academic, curricular, extracurricular and vocational and non-vocational streams. They are trying to bring everything at power. Right? So for today, if I want to learn, I want to excel in the art of painting, I can do that without feeling the guilt that I'm missing out on my studies. Because hopefully when this policy comes into action, my learning music or my learning art will be equal to me learning maths and me learning biology. So this is what my understanding of the policy as of now is. So they have basically diluted these bracketed formulas of different streams. They are encouraging students to take up interdisciplinary subjects which may not belong to one particular stream, but gives you that liberty that once you move out into the world, if you don't like a particular or you don't want to, let's say, I'll continue with the example of a doctor in music only. Say you studied all the subjects to become a doctor, yet you chose maybe history or music. You studied it all through. You can get out, be a doctor and yet do something in history. Maybe do a future graduation in history or an MA in history or a further study or a PhD in history. So that option has been opened by the government. The government has basically expanded the scope for students today as to whatever they want to study. They can pick those subjects and they can study while studying a so-called stream. Right? The next thing that which is very interesting also is that the government knows हम सबको रट्टे मारने की बहुत आदत है. Subjects where like history, maybe geography, maybe political science, I don't know, maybe bio, I don't know, I can't say. But subjects, the concentration today of the government through this policy is on concept understanding. Right? It is not on something where I just mug up in my head and then I go just write it down. So I've written the paragraph, I forgot what were the next lines, and then I forget the entire thing. I think that happens with a lot of students. It's happened with me, so I will not lie to that
Me
extent.
also, ma'am.
Yes, I have been an art student, I've been a political science student, I've been a law student, so I guess law students will understand this very well. So the idea today is not to study to clear an exam. The idea today is to understand what we are studying. So it doesn't matter tomorrow if you're studying a subject, you get a certain number of marks, right? But if you understand what you're writing, you will always excel in what you're doing. And that is the focus of the government. That let's try and correct the basics of a child. We have to encourage and strengthen the very base, the very core of a child, based on which he will move forward in life. Because let's face it, आपके 10th में जो marks आए हो, 12th में जो आए हो, 8th में आए हो, 9th, those marks really don't make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
What makes a difference in life is what you have learned from what you've studied. So if I'm doing a law paper and if I'm doing constitutional law and I don't understand the concept of Article 21, I will never be able to explain it on paper. So I need to understand the concept, and that is what the government is saying. Idea is to test not the memory but the understanding of what you are studying. So that is one of the bigger bases on which this entire policy has been framed. Right. The next thing which the government has come up with, one of the bigger changes that the government has come with is the inculcation of basic human values and discipline in a child from the very beginning. So when I say beginning, today when we think of a school, we think of 10 plus 2. We are starting school when we are 6 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
Before that, our parents put us into a KG or a pre-school or a play school. That was never considered as education.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
But now with the present policy, what they are doing is they are encouraging that the education which is given in the earlier stages, which is from ages 3 to 6, which is your play school, that will be included as part of your educational journey. So from
basically a
10,
formal education.
yes, it will be considered as a formal education now.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So the system that has come up is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. That makes us 15 years of education. 12 plus 3 basically.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, but question is, what are they looking at in those 3 to 6 years? So what they are saying is that they want to inculcate values like human values, ethics, empathy, respect for others,
Yes, ma'am.
cleanliness, which is a very important thing which a child needs to learn from the very beginning. Basic etiquette, basic courtesy, respect for public property. You know, these things, these smaller things which a child starts learning at home and then comes to a play school and learns it further will be part of a curriculum now. Which I think is a fantastic step, because I'll tell you, I was told by one of my associates that in Japan they actually have this as a formal training.
Yes, ma'am.
The children from the early ages till the age of 4 are taught how to dress, how to tie their shoelaces, how to pick up their plate and keep it in the sink. You know, these smaller things which our parents teach us, but I think when we go to play school we stop doing it. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Because there's some snag in the.
Ma'am,
Can you hear me, Tandrina?
Yes, ma'am. I can.
You're getting blurred, that's why. Okay, so going forward, this is one of the major changes that are brought about in the current system, in the current policy. That's one of the bigger proposals. See, the Dalai Lama said, when educating minds of our youth, We must not forget to educate their hearts. This is starting by educating their hearts. So we start early. That's the whole idea. The other major introduction in this policy is the promotion of multilingual and local languages in teaching. So the government is of the opinion that when we start out school, because the child has been exposed only to his family and play groups, play schools, most of the times the language in which the child is interacted with is local language. So if let's say I'm a Punjabi, probably the first few years of my life, I heard my parents interact in Punjabi. I heard my grandparents interact in Punjabi. That is probably the first language I picked up. So, picking a cue from that, the government wants that till the age or till class 5, the medium of dispensing or teaching will be in a local language. They want to promote the...
Yes, ma'am. Then after class 5, then it will be English, medium of teaching.
See, I think the medium of teaching, from what I understand, cannot be simply your local language. It will have to be a mix of English and local language. English ko aap local language mein you can't teach. So I am assuming, because it doesn't really say much in the policy, but I am assuming that it will be a mix of local language and English. Because English being a universal language, mostly everyone understands English. But I'll tell you the reason behind introducing local language so early in the education system. It is number one, obviously it's easier for the child to understand and relate to. So the child will not... it comes back to the mugging part. So child doesn't need to mug up things from the very beginning. The child will start understanding things from the very beginning. Right? And number two, every culture, every place has a cultural diversity, language diversity. The idea is to make the child aware from the very beginning of the richness of his culture, of his language, of the diversity that we have, and inculcate a sense of pride and belongingness in the child. And when I say belongingness to the country, I don't know if you've traveled, I'm sure most of our viewers over here would have traveled abroad, traveled maybe within India also. If you notice that when you go to a specific place, people are very proud. I'm talking about places like US, Europe. People are very proud of their language. People are very proud of their heritage. While we feel a sense of hitch to talk in our local language when we move out, because we feel we have to talk in English. You know, there's a stigma attached to it. We need to do away with that.
नहीं तो हम लोग का अनएडुकेटेड बोलेगा, मतलब नहीं इंग्लिश बोला तो
हाँ, तो ये चीज जो है, this has to go out of the window, and what has to come within our children, which has to start from the very beginning, is that we have pride in our own local language. I should feel no shame in wanting to converse with someone in my language. If I go to Europe, let the other guy make an effort to talk to me in English. I will talk in my mother tongue. You make an effort to understand what I'm saying. If I can make that effort, so can you. No? So that's the whole idea of why the government feels that from the very initial years of development of a child, this has to be inculcated. Right. Now let's deal at what really the government is looking at school level. I see the policy is very, very vast. So I will not be able to go into everything that the policy details with, but I will surely deal with two levels. I will deal with what the policy is dealing with on the school level, what are the basic changes that are going to come around on the school level, and what are the basic changes that we're looking at the university level, which again are very interesting. So in fact, at the school level, see, the government is trying to change the quality of education system. It is not going to be easy. It's a leviathan of a task. And what is important is that we need to be ready for it. As parents, I should be ready to have my child understand from the very initial stages what I want to teach him with regard to my culture, with regard to etiquettes, with regard to just basics. Right. Now, the next step will be how to go about it. That is where the change is supposed to come. At school level, what we are looking at more play and discovery based methods of learning. When a child is younger, primary school, you want to incorporate methods which are playful, which will make a child more excited and more interested to learn. Discovery based learning. These things become very important to create an interest of the child in. So if, let me give you an example. If you have a book in your hand which just shows a banana, which shows an apple, and you're only showing the child a banana and apple, and then you don't ask the child or you don't show some excitement while teaching the child, the child probably will never want to learn. Right? So some form of playfulness, excitement has to be involved, has to be encouraged. Growing up, coming out of primary, when you go to the middle school or maybe slightly higher, may say standards 6, 7, 8, at that stage, career counseling should start. So that the parents, the teachers, the schools try and understand that yes, this is the interest in which the child is very, very good at. This is a subject a child should pursue. Instead of pushing it down the child's throat, you'd rather give the child the option that, look, you now have the option. These are the few options that you can explore. And with career counseling, you will be able to understand that whether a child wants to explore it further or not. So that is one of the methods which should be adopted at a very early stages or rather middle stages. You know, once a child is through preschool, it is important for the teachers to identify what the child is good at. Give the child counseling. Let the child go for maybe classes, extracurriculars, maybe take a few extra subjects. You know, if it doesn't burden him, let him not do subjects which are not important and take subjects which he's good at. Right? So that's the basic focus. And in so far as colleges and universities are concerned, one of the major focus is research. To promote research-based education. We need research. We need to, I think research is the basis of invention. So if we are researching, we are creating inventions for and discoveries for tomorrow. And that can happen, and I go back again to primary level, that can happen when you are encouraging the child to think and have the comfort to study what he is studying. So I'll now go down to the specifications that have been inculcated or that have been proposed at the school level. I'll quickly rush through it. So the first and I think most exciting part for the children will be they are reducing the curriculum. So we don't need to carry heavy bags. We don't need to carry a lot of books, a lot of copies, you know. The curriculum will be limited, restricted, and the dependency on books is going to be reduced. So how will we teach? That's the question that arises. We will teach through interactive classes, interactive sessions, right? Question and answer forms. So like we are having this session, when you have a question, you ask me. The teachers will now encourage their students, when they discuss a topic, don't look at the book, understand. If you don't understand, ask me a question. That is the kind of sessions we are looking at. Those are the kind of classes we are looking at. Right? That is number one. Number two, it seems that there is too much furor, there is too much stress, too much tension created around for boards. 10th, 12th, my God, they like parents, more than students, parents are preparing for it. You know, so to release both the students and the parents of that stress, they have introduced something called school examinations in grade 3, 5 and 8. Your 10th and 12th boards are going to be there. I'm not saying they're not going to be there. But the level of, it's a gradual preparation of the child for being able to attempt his 10th and 12th. I'm not saying that's the ultimate goal, but in a graded manner, in a phased manner, a child will be given maybe, and please I say that with a caution because this yet has to be executed,
Yes, ma'am.
implemented. But I am assuming in that the level of examinations in grade 3, 5, and 8, they might increase it to a level to be able to make a child ready for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Right? It won't suddenly come on your head that, oh my God, boards hai. So, yes, I know it still gives you shudders, but yeah, that's how it is. So, I think that and is very important. And what they're going to do, I think it gives it here. It says that what they want to do is that these examinations would test the achievement of basic learning outcomes through assessment of core concepts and knowledge from national and local curricula, along with relevant high order skills, application of knowledge in real life situations rather than memorization. So basically जो हम रट्टे मारते थे वो तो निकाल दो आप दुखियां भी निकाल दो, उससे भी पढ़ाई नहीं होगी अब, ठीक है ना? You have to understand your subject, otherwise you will not clear it. So if you've not attended your class and if you've not attended what your teacher has said, because they're going to be interactive sessions, notes are going to make no difference.
No bunking of
Sorry?
classes. No bunking of classes.
No bunking of class. I mean, I would still say you can bunk, but you know, I think maybe children will now start recording sessions for all you know.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so the idea is to go with the flow, to accept the new change, and to make the necessary changes that are required to accept it. The other thing that they say is grade 3 examination, they say in particular, would test your basic literacy numerical understanding and foundational skills. So whatever you've learned in your play school, your class nursery 1, 2 will actually be tested in class 3. So it is like a class 3 board for your previous sessions.
Okay, so it will be added up.
Sorry?
Added up till 3 classes will be added up, then the examination will be held in class 3.
Yes. So there will be no examination in class 1 and 2 from what I understand. They will probably test you for your skills. They will have interactive sessions. They will have those play and discovery methods of learning. But I don't think they will have specific exams and put pressure on the children that early. I think the first examination probably will happen in grade 3. This is what I understand from the reading of the policy. Again, I come with a disclaimer. My understanding is purely my understanding. It could be something else completely when it really comes out in effect. Okay, so don't hold that against me later. And the result of schools will now not be to test your brain. It will be only for development purpose. Right. So your exam results will be used to understand, okay, you've done something, you could not understand this, maybe you scored less in this, let's start working on this particular subject or this particular skill more. Let's say a class 3 child. A class 3 child is barely 6 years. 7, 8 years. Yeah. So what? 6 to 7 years. So what you learned in class 1, 2, 3 will be your tables, maths tables, English geography, you will learn small things, what is a river, what is a stream, maybe smaller things, So let's say that an exam happens in class 3 and you realize that the child is not very good in a particular subject or in a particular skill. So in that event, it can be rectified at the ground level. You don't need to wait till class 10 to understand कि मुझे class 5 का maths नहीं आता है. It can be done at a much earlier, it can be detected earlier and rectified much earlier. Right? So that is the focus. As I said, class board 10th and 12th will be continued, and board exams will be redesigned to encourage a holistic development. Students will be able to choose as many subjects in which they want to take their board exams based on their interests.
Ma'am, it will be the choices of the students. Means which subject we want to study.
Sorry, come again?
Means I'm saying that, ma'am, it will be choices of the students in which subjects they want to give exams.
Yes, I believe that not just give exams, what subjects you want to study. So when you come to class 10th, from 10th onwards, they have changed the concept. As I said, there is no concept of streams anymore.
Yes, okay.
So after 10th, you will not need to pick up an art stream or a commerce stream or a science stream. As explained earlier, you can pick up, you can do maths, you can do computers, you can do history, you can do geography.
So, ma'am, like now after high secondary, like I'm studying BLLB or someone is studying BA in science. Oh, sorry, BSc, BA. So after 12th, then what will say that what we are studying?
See, I have not come to the university part. I'll come to the university part after I finish the school.
Okay, ma'am.
I have an answer for that also. Okay. Though they have not identified that, they have not said it anywhere, but I'll still come back to that. So that is one. And then board exams will be made easier, it says. They will basically test your core capabilities and competencies rather than coaching and memorization. So they practically are doing away with coaching classes. So all these coaching classes that have mushroomed, which have become a money-making business, where I don't know if actual teaching happens or not. Those are being replaced in the sense that now what you are learning in school cannot be, well, I won't say it can't be taught outside, but I think what you learn from school now is going to suffice. If you are serious and if you understand what your teacher is teaching, and if you are brave enough to ask your teacher if you don't understand anything, right? That will be very important. That confidence again needs to be instilled from the very beginning. That if you don't understand anything, it's perfectly fine. There is no harm in asking. If you don't understand, you ask once, twice, thrice, because ultimately the base has to be strengthened. Right? Then they are giving the option of giving your board exams up to 2 occasions. Right? So one main examination and one for improvement if you want. So in one subject, if you don't get good marks, or if in the board you don't get good marks, you can give another shot at it. Now whether that would amount to repeating a class or not, that is yet to be seen. Again, because the final nuances have to still be sorted out once it comes into implementation. But they are giving you that option. Right? Now, coming back to when I was...
Ma'am, am I visible?
You are visible but blurry and visible.
Okay. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear your voice very well.
Okay, no problem. Ma'am, you can continue.
You want me to continue?
Yes,
Okay. So the other thing that they have brought about a change is that both the state and the center governments would now encourage local language, the thing that I said earlier. And for that purpose, they will now invest more in teachers who can teach local languages. For that purpose, they are promoting bilateral agreements between states to hire teachers. Right? So, if someone wants to learn, let's say, Uriya, so in Punjab, so the state of Punjab will be able to get into a bilateral agreement with the state of Orissa to hire teachers for maybe, a few sessions, maybe one particular year, depending on the number of students obviously you want to learn. Right? So the other thing is that they are including a three language formula in every state. Right? So I've also told you that the medium of instruction up to class 5 will be local language, the mother tongue, and three languages to be taught, which will be decided by the state or the union territory, whichever is concerned. Okay, the other thing which is very interesting that they have brought about is, and which I wish was there when I was studying, is the inclusion of learning of 2 years of classical language, any classical language, along with its associated literature. So every state has a specific language, has its own culture, and has its own, let's say, art form, dance form, craft form. So now what they are trying is to learn not only the language but also the literature surrounding that language. Right? So and this option will be from grade 6 to 12. It also includes learning of foreign languages. So at school now you will be able to take up foreign languages. Right? So which again, when I was studying was not available, which was many years ago. I'm almost ancient. But yes, we did not have this option, and I would have loved to have this option. Another very interesting thing which I feel will really interest the children is going to be a bag-free period, a bag-free day, which basically means that you will not need to carry your bags to school. I can't even imagine going to school without a bag. So the question is, what happens on a bag-free day? Bag-free day is fun course day. On that day, you get to do vocational crafts. That day, depending on how the states, what is there in the states to offer, it can be carpentry, electric work, metal work, gardening, pottery, learning different skills. So this is what is being introduced at the level of school. It will not just be a hobby. It could possibly be one of your subjects. So today, if I have interest in pottery making, I will be able to learn that in school. I don't need to wait for summer vacation and do a summer course. For 15 days, I learn that and I am done with it. So that is something which will be very exciting. Something very simple. I'll give you a small example. Rajasthan, Jaipur has something called blue pottery. Bihar has something called Madhubani paintings. These are heritage, crafts belonging to each state, and every state has something or the other. Right? They are encouraging to use these crafts as subjects for children to learn early on in their school, which will help them understand where they belong from, what a rich culture they have, and it brings interest in the local craft. And the most exciting part is that you will get to do internships with these people who are teaching you. So if this can be implemented, I think this is something which will really it will build a student not only educationally but also vocationally. You enjoy what you're doing, you enjoy studying. You will start enjoying studying, which is very important. And it also gives recognition to the local artisans who have not been given recognition for so many years at a school level. It will be exciting to learn at school level. So yes, that is one. The other thing, I think I read a question somewhere. What happens to the socio-economically backward classes? Whether these will be available to them? There was a question somewhere that I was reading in your one of the visitors have asked. So they have created something called early childhood care and education for the socio-economically disadvantaged background. Now they are creating a framework which is basically a national curricular pedagogical framework for early childhood care education. Okay, so this will be they will also be given all these options. See, what happens is the today people who are living in cities who can afford give their children play school, they send them to play schools, they send them to nursery, but the backward classes, they are not able to send their children to these kind of play schools and early schools, you know. So for them, the Anganwadi, standalone Anganwadis are being created. Okay, they are creating standalone Anganwadis. Anganwadis will be co-located with primary schools, pre-primary schools, section covering at least 5 to 6 years. There are going to be standalone preschools for them. So all these options which are available to any student is also available to a socially and economically backward child. Rather, tribals, for tribal children, they have actually taken into consideration tribal children also. They are actually introducing ashram shalas in tribal dominated areas. So what are ashram shalas? I'm assuming an ashram shala will be where a child can stay and learn at the same time.
Like the ancient times.
So I think which is a very, very positive step by the government. So this is also something which has been taken care of by this particular policy. They are talking about creating high quality infrastructure in the Anganwadis, supplying play equipment, train Anganwadi teachers, have well ventilated, well designed, child friendly buildings for these economically backward children. So the whole focus of this policy is not to restrict education only to the haves. Everyone has a right to education, and everyone must be given that education. No one should go uneducated. That is the basic focus. Right? Going forward, how much time do I have?
Ma'am, it's almost 6:48. It's almost, I think we have.
Do you want me? I'll quickly go through the higher education then.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I think I'll be over by that. So quickly, higher education, basically what they are doing is they are basically re-energizing and overhauling the entire higher education system also. Now what they are, for that purpose, they are going to use a light but a very tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency and resource efficiency into the educational system over the higher education. Now, what you asked me earlier, they are changing the structure of how degree programs work. And that concern springs from the high number of students who drop out of colleges. Okay.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Your problem?
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, now I can see you now.
Yeah.
So the undergrad degree courses are going to be 3 to 4 years duration. So if, assuming you've joined college, you could complete only 1 year for whatever reason and you had to drop out. That education doesn't go waste. They are now willing to give you a certificate for that 1 year, which is recognized, and you can come back and join. And there is no upper limit that they've set, at least I could not see, for which you can come back and join. So assuming my father joined, he dropped because he had some personal problem. He's had his kids are educated, he can go back and join again on second year. See, so that is the interesting part. So you get a certificate if you complete 1 year. If you complete 2 years of your college, you get a diploma. If you complete 3 years of your bachelor's program, you get a degree. If you do a 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's program, okay, that in addition to a research, 1 year of research, then you are able to do a PhD directly. So you don't need to have a master's. If you've done a 4-year program with research, it saves you the 2 years of master's program. Maybe 1 actually, not 2. Right? So it is basically encouraging people not to drop out and complete their education. And encouraging and telling them that your education, whatever number of years you've put in, will not go waste anymore. Okay. So quickly, they are also creating something called an academic bank of credit. which will basically store your academic credits of your higher education. So those credits could be transferable from one institute to the other, from one year to the other. So if you have low scores in 1 year, you can basically pull up your socks in the next year. Right? So that's a very, very, I think, good thing for them to come up. The other thing that they are doing is they are letting foreign universities set up their base in India. Sorry. So anyone who wants to study in a foreign university, they don't need to go out anymore. Their parents don't need to spend lakhs of money to send them out. They can have within the children within the comfort of their homes, or rather their where they stay, and still study in a foreign university. So that is also a step forward in the education sector. Going forward, I think MPhil program has been discontinued. Open learning program, distant learning programs have been their scope has been widened. So I'm rushing through now. One of the very important aspects that are including in education is environment education, which I think is the need of the hour. Today we are all dealing with a pandemic, and because of that we realize that how important our environment is. Right? So environment education is very important to be imparted to children today to understand they do not need to violate their environment in any way. Right? So I guess this pretty much covers the broader spectrum of what this policy includes at the primary and the university level. Sorry, the school and the university level.
Okay, ma'am, we have to start the question answer round now.
Please.
I think it's almost 6:53 now. But I think we have, as the Instagram live is of 1 hour, shall I start the session again for the question answer round?
I leave that to you. I'm willing to answer the questions.
Okay, then I shall start the session again from the first for the question answer round, ma'am.
No problem. So I will have to relog in?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Viewers, you have to join the session again for the question answer round. So we are ending this session. So please join in the next session.
She's ending the session. Me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Viewers, now you can put up your questions. I shall forward the questions towards ma'am.
Do I need to read the question in the comment section, or will you ask the question?
I'm going to read the question for you.
Okay.
Ma'am, first there's a question from my side. Ma'am, how far this new education policy will be beneficial for our nation? How far it will be? Yes, ma'am.
How far it will be, we can only know once it's implemented.
Yes, ma'am.
It is a very, very interesting policy if you ask me personally. I was blown over by it. I thought I wanted to go back to school again. Because who wants to miss the idea of learning local craft, go to school without a bag, have sports as a proper subject and not feel guilty that you're missing your class and going for sports.
Yes, ma'am.
No, who doesn't want that? So as they are increasing the curriculum in the sense they are decreasing maybe the curriculum in terms of academics, but they're including so much more. They are offering so much more to children today that education will now become enjoyable. It will not be a burden anymore if it is. See, as I said, it is going to be a very, very big task. And for this, the center and the state really need to be prepared. There will be a lot of training that goes behind it, training for teachers, training for the staff, training for parents, everything. But yes, I think if you ask me personally, I think it's complex, but not so difficult.
Yes, ma'am. Viewers, you can put up your questions quickly. Ma'am,
I think I was very clear. No one wants to ask anything.
Yes, everyone was saying that this webinar was a very informative session. Our speaker ma'am
Thank
is
you.
so good.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, you asked me something.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am, I have a question. Like it said that the pattern is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So,
Yes.
ma'am, when will be the examination be held? Like class is 5 means like class 1 to 5.
No, the examination will start from class 3.
3 then
3, 5,
5,
8,
8,
10,
10,
12.
12. Okay.
I am pretty sure they will have internals. You know वो हमारा इंडियन सिस्टम है, we cannot do without doing exam. वो प्रेशर तो डालना ही डालना होता है उनको. But at least this, हाँ, go ahead.
नहीं आप बताइए.
So, but I think what they are saying is that the levels of difficulty probably or of testing the skills will happen at 3, 5, 8, 10 and 12.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are some questions. Ma'am, one is asking, Roshi Deori is asking, ma'am, is there any disadvantages in new education policy? What are the disadvantages you can see in it?
Disadvantages, see again, disadvantage you will know only
While
after it's implemented.
Yes.
Yeah. We will not be able to understand it till we
Assumption is not
till we
possible.
yeah,
Yes.
because from what I from see it is right now only a piece of paper,
Yes, ma'am.
you know. So the disadvantage, I can talk about difficulty,
Difficulties, yes.
but disadvantage I cannot talk of right now. The difficulty that we may face in executing this is number one, funding, because funding will be a major issue.
Yes, ma'am.
The state needs to be ready to shell out that kind of money. The center needs to allocate that kind of budget to education. If they want to create this, then they have to be ready with funds.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, that is number one.
Yes, even
The number two problem
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
that the number two problem will be that it is as of now only a policy,
Yes, policy.
right? For a lot of things, a law will have to be developed, right? And for the purpose of implementation, again depends on the center and the state governments.
Yes, ma'am.
Education, remember, is in the concurrent list,
Concurrent.
so it falls between both center and state.
Yes, ma'am.
So therefore, the right cooperation between both is very important. So that not a disadvantage, but a difficulty. Yeah, I'm reading those questions. See, schools are not ready right now.
Yes.
As I said, it is only a policy right now. It has to be implemented.
Ma'am, someone is asking about the MPhil one, MPhil policy.
See, they have done away with the MPhil. So you can do your masters, you can do your once you've done a 4-year course in research, you can further go into research, right? So saving years.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, how holistic development will help the students? Like, I think the students who are poor in studies will definitely holistic development will help them, right, ma'am?
See, I think when you use the term poor in study,
Yes,
this is what we are trying to remove.
yes, yes,
Study is not the devil.
yes. One seat
We
of
need to
paper
move
cannot-
beyond that.
Yes,
So a student who might not be very bright academically,
yes, yes,
might be very bright in sports,
yes, definitely.
might excel in something else.
Yes,
So the whole focus, when you talk of holistic development, that is what it means.
yes, ma'am.
You don't need to pressurize the child to study and bring marks.
Yes, ma'am.
Today, if a child is playing cricket, sport is also a curriculum.
Yes, yes.
It's not extracurricular anymore. So if he's playing cricket, he's and bringing laurels to your school, that is enough.
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't make him a poor student, right? So we need to move away from that thought process.
Yes, yes. The people who are doing
Slow learners.
slow learners. Yes. How if one can already pursuing bachelor course? What? Yes.
Sorry,
One is,
I didn't
one,
get your question.
Yes, one is asking that the persons who are doing the students who are doing bachelor courses now. So will there be any changes in it?
See, bachelor courses that you are doing, in so far as changes are concerned, it just a second. It will come later.
Yes.
What the changes are going to be will come later. But as of now, what they have given is your bifurcations. 1 year certificate, 2 year diploma, 3 year degree, 4 year degree plus research gives you 1 year of PhD. So yes, that I think that
Okay, ma'am. What about
it's a
the
drastic change. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. What about the implementation of this policy? How long it will take as the infrastructure is so advanced in our country?
I think you need to ask the government that. I'm not equipped to answer this one. You maybe need to write to the HRD ministry and ask them how long will it take.
Even India always faces a financial problem while implementing its policies.
See, I think what is important right now is that they have thought of this concept. In India, to even think of this concept is a big deal, I would say. Right? And we are currently struggling with a pandemic. We are going through something which is so extreme. Yet there is something positive that has come out from the government. We must appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the first step taken.
Yes.
Now, when the next step will be taken, everything. See, if you ask me when is the policy going to be executed, I can't say that. The government can't do it right now, also. We need to first address what is the immediate issue of the pandemic. Once that gets over, I'm pretty sure the government and the state governments will start implementing it from the grassroots levels.
Yes, ma'am. So there's one more question. What are the benefits of we NCOM students? Do we get any provisions? Please respond.
MCOM students?
Yeah. Masters, I think. Yeah.
I'm sorry, students who've already studied, they will have to take the normal regular course that we have as of date. If you want to do something for beyond MCOM, you will have to take, you will have to do your MBA or anything else, any other path that you want to take. Because this policy is yet not been implemented, please appreciate that.
Yes.
So for now, you will have to take the path that you have decided. Please go on that path. Don't let this policy get you off it.
One is asking, ma'am, why this education policy is changed now? Why this decision was not taken earlier? I think ma'am cannot answer this. Let's government answer.
Government has to answer. HRD ministry, write to them. And when they answer you, let me know.
What about the slow learners?
I've answered that.
Yes. Students have already 4 years. It's done, I think.
No, this policy will not harm students who have done MPhil already. See, this policy is not going to take away the degrees you've already achieved. You've done your studies, you've got a degree, you've moved on. It doesn't have a retrospective effect in any way. If it permits online classes or not,
Yes.
they do have a plan of digitalizing things. I did not go into that because of paucity of time. But yes, online classes have been taken into consideration in this policy.
Yes, ma'am.
So as I said, going forward, implementation happens. I am pretty sure it will start with digital because if they have to start it immediately, that will be the way to go.
Yes, ma'am. One more important question has been raised. Ma'am, the policy seems to be theoretical for backward areas because there is problem of infrastructure. Moreover, there is a very less teachers in government schools in the backward areers.
See, that's what I'm saying. The policy takes into consideration this. The policy has brought out the concept of Anganwadis for backward classes. there's a separate section on how teachers are going to be trained, how the teachers are going to be incorporated in these Anganwadis and in the ashram shalas for the tribal people. You see, it's so exciting. They are actually taking into consideration tribal children also,
Yes, ma'am.
which I don't think has been taken into consideration till date. And they're not only taking care of their education, but they're also taking care of the fact that they might not have a place to stay. So they are creating an ashram shala.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one question. Do you think implementing coding in some technologically backward areas will put hindrance in national education policy?
See, coding they are going to start from class 6. Okay. Now, in so far as hindrances are concerned, see the backward, wherever the backward sections are, obviously they will have to put more thrust over there. More emphasis will have to be given over there. More funding will have to go there.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So a special efforts will have to be made over there, which has been taken care by the policy.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, from
Right.
when does the policy become effective? Ma'am doesn't know about it. I think it's
Sooner the better.
government will be answerable to it. Take time, implementation.
I think we are done for the day.
Yes, ma'am. One more questions. I think. Ma'am, your session is so informative. I'm not.
Thank you so much.
I'm not willing to leave you only, ma'am. Okay, one more.
See, the medium of instruction, there's one question I've seen. Medium of instruction in English medium schools. See, as I said earlier, the medium instruction probably will have to be a mix of English and local language both. And this is for public and private schools both. They are bringing everything at par.
Yes.
So today, a private school, a public school or a government school will be at par with a private school. It is not, there will be no fancy frills attached to a private school today.
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, I can say that for Delhi, it seems that Delhi education, the Kendriya Vidyalayas have really done very well this year. The students of the Kendriya Vidyalayas have done very well this year. So yes, I think it's slow, but will definitely be there, the change.
Ma'am, like this is Kendra Vidyalaya is like Hindi medium is more important. So like in Assam, Assamese is our regional language. So will they
Right.
promote this language in KVs and all? Do you think that?
I'm pretty sure, see, they are going to, the idea is to encourage a local language. So in Assam, if they have KVs, the medium of conversation, the medium of instruction, the medium of teaching will be Assamese from class 1 to 5. But that doesn't mean that someone who doesn't understand Assamese will have to necessarily learn in Assamese only.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Right? It basically, wherever possible, the medium will be local. So if the majority of children, let's say in a Kendriya Vidyalaya, in a nursery, it's a socially backward area. And all the children are from socially backward area where everyone knows Assamese.
Yes.
So the medium at that point in that school will be Assamese. But assuming the majority of children are not Assamese and from some other state, let's say a private organization where the children are from all over, English, I'm assuming, will be the medium. Assamese probably will be the local language which will be optional to learn. I'm assuming.
Yes, because in Assam, I have seen the students studying from KV are not able to write Assamese, are not able to read Assamese just because they don't give the chance to study Assamese in their schools. So that's a very big problem that's going on. And
No, but now I think it will, once with the implementation of this, I think that will become one of the major changes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I said, we need to take pride in who we are.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have came to the end part of the session. Now I have to leave you, ma'am. So,
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the session.
yes.
And I have to thank two people from my end also, my associate Srishti, who helped me understand the whole policy.
Yes.
and Pronoy, who helped with the whole the IT thing. I don't understand. I didn't know how to come on this Instagram. I don't have a profile, so yes, I have to thank the both of them.
Okay, ma'am, one student of PNGBN is giving you thanks. He's saying that
Thank you.
PNGBN's family would like to thank you for enormously
Thank you.
blessing us with your precious presence and support. We hope you enjoyed it well, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. So, ma'am,
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, any final conclusion you want to give to our viewers?
What? Sorry.
Any final conclusion you want to give to our viewers?
Yes, I think since we've talked so much about education,
Yes.
I will also say this: study, but enjoy your life also. We have a very difficult life ahead, so it is very important not to forget that it is important to enjoy your life also. Studies are not the end of life, right? So do what you enjoy
Yes.
and no drugs.
Okay, so viewers, we have came to the end part of the session. Thank you, viewers, for cooperating with us so patiently. It was a great session with you, ma'am, and PNGBN. Thank you for joining with us. And
Thank
a
you.
heartful thanks to you, ma'am, for giving a valuable time to us. And
Thank you. I enjoyed myself also.
Yes.
I'm wishing all the students all the very best.
Yes, and lastly, I would like to give thanks to our legal root leaf for collaborating with us and Padmanath Gohai Barua Satranibas for conducting such an informative webinar session. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great evening. I have to leave you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, ma'am.